Good evening, everyone. I'm Mayor Steve Cummings. On behalf of the Oshkosh Common Council, City Manager Mark Roloff, and city staff, welcome to the 2016 State of the City Address and City Expo. We very much appreciate that you have come out tonight because it shows you have an interest in learning more about the city of Oshkosh, what we're working on, and how we can continue to work together to achieve even greater things. The State of the City is not just an event to showcase our activities, projects, and future goals. It's an opportunity for everyone to come together and celebrate our collective efforts and our collaboration. We aren't just celebrating our accomplishments over the past year, we're also highlighting where we plan to go in the coming year, and we recognize you all play an important role in this process as citizens, community leaders, city employees, government officials, elected officials, volunteers, all facets of our great community. Without you being here, without your participation and continued support, there would be no program. So it means a great deal that you choose to come out tonight to be part of it and become very involved. We have a great evening planned. In just a moment, City Manager Mark Roloff will deliver his State of the City address. Following his presentation, we will honor several individuals with our Citizen Services Awards for their ongoing efforts in serving our various city boards and commissions. In addition, we want to take some time to also recognize a few organizations with our Community Partner Awards for their work on projects that have a significant positive impact on our community. And of course, as you can see around the room tonight, we also have our City Department Expo. This is a great opportunity to meet your city employees, learn about what's happening in your city, and talk to them about their projects, activities, and initiatives. On a final note, I want to stress again that for our city to work effectively, we need active citizen participation. Please consider serving on a board or commission, and don't hesitate to talk to city staff, council members, we're all in blue shirts, or current board and commission members about how to get involved in our boards and commissions. And thank you again, and please enjoy tonight's State of the City event. Here is your city manager, Mark Roloff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Everybody, thank you for coming. This is the State of the City address, so I guess I got to start with the state of our city. And I would say, given what I've seen in the last hour with everybody talking to our city staff and hearing the things that are going on, that the state of the city is strong and it's thriving, and we're poised to achieve even greater things than we've already achieved. So thank you to everybody for being here and being part of the success that we've achieved so far. You recall, if you've been coming to these on a regular basis, as we prepare for the State of the City, we always try to take a look back on how we're coming along. And we've encouraged resident input and opinions in previous State of the City addresses we've done. You'll recall, for example, in 2010, we got out on the streets to talk to residents about things, what they were thinking about, what they thought how things were going in Oshkosh, as well as what they'd like to see. And we've used that input over the years as a basis for our strategic plan. And it's a good idea to see how we're coming along with that. So before we get started on talking about the future, we thought we'd give you a little snippet of what was being said back in 2010. This is just 5-6 years ago, and it's interesting how things have changed and evolved.
The streets. I mean, we're talking like every year you guys do construction, and it seems like none of the streets get better. Everywhere I drive, my Porsche shocks are struggling. So I'd like to see, in general, especially the main streets, to improve.
The roads.
The streets.
The bumpy roads.
The streets.
There's also a ton of potholes around.
Our streets.
The city streets.
Positives that I see out of the city is that they keep trying. I think one of the positives is how they managed to get the Leach Amphitheater going without the hired help.
My favorite part is probably the Leach Amphitheater. I think that's a great thing to draw money to the area. Let's see, the Opera Square is nice downtown.
The new highway development that they're going on,
That's actually going to be really helpful, like the roundabouts and stuff like that, the circular drives. That's going to be really helpful. It's going to make the traffic flow a lot better.
I like the library. The library is a good job, and I really like Menominee Park when my grandkids come and play, and to go see the zoo.
One issue is the Oshkosh Corporation. I think by investing in them to make sure that they continue their success with contracts, or I think a big boost would be to try and get their corporate office built here. I think that would be a positive thing.
Well, one thing I would like to see them capitalize on would be the use of our river, and a beautiful river walk would be really nice, all up and down, because I've been to San Antonio, and that's one of the things there, San Antonio, Texas, that they have and they promote it a lot. And I would think we have a beautiful area along the river here that we could do beautiful things to promote that.
You know what I would really like to see is that the sidewalk by the river. I don't even know what it's called, river walk. I wish that would go ahead, because I've seen other cities like South Bend, Indiana, and they've done a beautiful job with that. And I think we could too. And I think something should be done with the Pioneer property, because it's a beautiful area and they're just letting it sit and rot.
Well, probably one of the biggest opportunities, one of the biggest things that I think a lot of people feel strongly about is the whole waterfront area, and especially the site where the Pioneer Resort was. That we really need to do something with that to really bring more of a resort feel for tourists and everything back. We also really need to look at our entryways into the community. As you exit from Highway 41 and come into the community, most of our welcoming areas, our gateways to the community, really could be enhanced a lot. And I think both of those would really help considerably.
Boy, there were a lot of dreamers way back when in 2010, weren't there? It's amazing that a lot of these things align with what we've done. And they were goals that were set by residents, and they were reflected in subsequent things. But those are a lot of things that we've been successful with over the past 5 years. But there's also some things that were referenced there that we still have work to be done. And we're going to talk about some of those tonight. Our community has evolved over the last 20, 30, 50 years. But as this video showed, we've also evolved a lot in just the last 5 years alone. And we should be proud of that. And I thank everybody for everything we've been able to accomplish, because without your dream and vision, this wouldn't be accomplished. So thank you very much for doing that. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the past, and we decided that that's it for as far as looking back, because what we're really here for is to look forward to the future. And really, when you think about it, it's always been that way. We always need to be thinking about the future. So we decided to go and ask a few people about other things that they would like to see us continue to do and where Oshkosh is headed. And we know one of the big things, as you saw earlier on, if you were here back in 2010, we almost had a little fun with so many people talked about infrastructure, and they were absolutely right. And so we still get questions and comments about infrastructure, and it's still very important, but let's see what people had to say about infrastructure this year.
One of the things that I like best about the city of Oshkosh is roundabouts. Traffic. It's a big thing. I go to other cities and I'm amazed at cities that don't have roundabouts and how slow traffic is. So we're lucky that way. I think it's a very good thing.
I feel like adding the roundabouts really helped to kind of limit some of the speeders and to have it, broken up a little bit more. So first I really didn't like it, but now I can understand why the city chose to do so.
I know a lot of people were talking about the roads. I mean, they were mostly potholes, so nobody really wanted to drive anywhere,
Well, they can certainly fix those streets, CP and Otter Street, because those are the main thoroughfares to get in and out of the Lower East Side. Yeah, they're in desperate need.
I think the city streets have improved. I think traffic flows really well. The roundabouts are great. The university looks good. We're going to have to work on the roads through the university. Well, I would just like to see dedicated bike paths, and things that could happen in the future would be more of an effort to make that happen. South side, north side, to the parks and connecting things.
I live more towards the lake, so yeah, I've just seen improvements from the campus all the way to the lake.
So you can see roundabouts. Who would have thought that people were loving roundabouts? I know if you're new to town, you're still getting used to them. Chief Smith, I know you're still wanting to get used to them a little bit as well. But it's amazing what a few years have done. But we're making progress on infrastructure. Some of the streets that were pointed out aren't done yet, but we are making progress. But of course, that comes at a cost. And meanwhile, we've had to fulfill other priorities. For example, the Public Works Field Operations Facility was something that was desperately needed. And I can tell you that with all assurance that that was a wise investment for us, because the efficiencies that we've gained by having that facility are very substantial, and we're very happy about that. But at the same time, we can't do everything at once. CP and Otter are there, and we'll be talking about other projects. But what's next in terms of what we want to do? I would say the first thing is we've heard a lot about bike lanes and paths. And to be quite honest with you, there is still no community consensus on that. And that makes it difficult for the council to make a final decision on those types of things. I think we're going to have to continue that discussion about where and when these are going to happen. We need the public to step forward and let us know about how they feel about those things. And it can be about anything, but in this case, bike paths are something that we're just not completely there yet. But it's not a yes-no decision. It's about where and when we do them. And I encourage you to be part of that discussion, provide input to the council, because that's the type of process we need to gain consensus. And I think one of the things we've learned over the last few years is as we work to gain consensus, the decisions, once they're finally made, are so much more powerful and impactful on the community. So what I'd encourage you to do, if you mention CP or Otter or any of those other streets, that last bit of New York by Merrill School that I get talked about, go to the Public Works booth. We have our 5-year CIP, and you'll see all the projects that are in there. Most of the projects that are mentioned, you're going to find on that 5-year CIP. And that's part of what we do. We engage our staff to identify what projects are the main priorities. So please take a look at those. As I've mentioned a lot before, it's not just about the conditions of the road surface, it's also other conditions out there, and the puzzle fits together because of that. In addition to that, we also have a lot of stormwater projects, and I will tell you that while I'm very pleased and proud of the work that our new Public Works Director, James Robbie, and his staff have done over the last few years as a team to get the projects done, we still have a long way to go on that. We've made a lot of progress in Sawyer Creek. We've made some progress on the north side, but there are still other projects that need to get done. And I hate to break it to you this way, but we're only one storm away from people questioning everything we've done. Mother Nature's been very kind to us, and so let's keep that in mind, because if we have a bad spring storm, you'll see where the weaknesses in our system are. For the moderate storms that we've had the last few years, we've been very fortunate they haven't had a problem. But tell that to the people whose basements are still getting backed up. They still happen, they're just not as frequent, so please keep that in mind. Meanwhile, we also have to live within our means. And so with stormwater, we're tapering back to one major project a year. We're still doing some storm sewers when we do the streets, but the ponds that are getting done, we're doing one at a time. When I first got here, we doubled up on them, and we're very aggressive. We still need to get projects done, but we got to scale back a little bit, which is all about fiscal responsibility. And I'm very proud of the fact that when other communities were backing off from doing projects, we stepped up. We took advantage of good prices, low borrowing rates. We did all those things to make sure that we invested in infrastructure at exactly the right time. The old adage, buy low, sell high, that's what we did. We were buying projects when they were very low, and we got a lot of value over the last few years because of that. When council took a look at where our financial situation was, they worked with our long-range finance committee, and they approved a 10-year plan to limit our borrowing. Now that sounds very limiting, but the reality is the council's approved $11.4 million in general obligation borrowing annually. So it's not a small amount of money, but the council recognizes that for us to maintain fiscal responsibility, that we do need to live within some means, and that's what they've done. And I appreciate the leadership that they've given our finance staff and all our city staff on that. With that, with fiscal responsibility, the borrowing is really the limitation we have. The council's also asked me to take a look at rate increases because the last couple of years we've seen some substantial rate increases on water, sanitary sewer, stormwater, but you can see the progress that we've made, and we're very proud of that, but it comes at a price. So we have to look at things to do differently. One of the other things the council's asked me to take a look at is the possible creation of a municipal court. There's a variety of reasons you might want to do it. One of them is actually financial, and if we can demonstrate that we can get some fiscal benefit, actually make more money than not having a municipal court, we're certainly going to pursue that. And then there's also some other elements of that we might want to look at it as well, but the council's asked us to take a look at those things. Another initiative that the council and staff has asked staff to work on is our Central City Plan, and that's also known as Imagine Oshkosh. And if you go back to the community development table, you'll see something about that. We've been looking for some public input on this, and we've had some sessions here both with residents and the business community, and they were really positive that getting a lot of good input on what we were doing. And so we asked people around town what they thought about our central city and what we can do to make it better.
Well, I think the downtown area is always struggling, but the Main Street has done a pretty good job, I think, of trying to resurrect, but they're just in competition with Kohler and the highway.
I feel almost prevented from going to the Waterfest because there the handicap parking is quite a distance from the entrance to get into. The 2-hour parking downtown is a limitation because then you can't really go from store to store.
I've watched the downtown Main Street program really develop. They have a great summer program for farmers market. And the coffee shop, New Moon, is my favorite hangout.
I just think more of what they're doing, more development, more attracting younger people in so that it will continue to be vibrant, and I think they're doing a pretty good job of that.
A couple times I heard the word vibrant, and that's exciting because that says that our central city is alive and has a lot going for it. And our vision of the downtown has evolved over time. It's continuously developing, and that's one of the things, if we recognize that we always have to be looking at ways to improve our central city, that's probably the most important thing we can do. You may recall that back in 2001, we did something that was called the Downtown Action Plan. Great partners, the Chamber of Commerce, the Community Foundation, the Business Improvement District, and the city invested some money to prepare a plan. And we've achieved most, if not all, of those objectives from our 2001 plan, and I'm very proud of that. One issue that was not even addressed back in 2001 was parking, and it almost seems like we've been a victim of our own success. Some of the things we've done to address parking, we've got the Riverside parking lot that we did, and the timing was actually very good. You may have heard about some issues over at the city center lot. That's not a city-owned parking lot, but the name city's in it, so people think that. But even with that, they had some parking issues there that they had to relocate some folks, and we were able to work with them to make some parking available. Thank goodness that this was available, and even in the middle of the winter, we made the Leach Amphitheater available, which normally is not used. But we had a parking study that the council asked us to get done as part of the Central City Action Plan, and as a result of that, we're going to be developing some new parking policies, and I think that that's important as well. I've heard from enough people that the parking is absolutely a significant issue. We need to work on that collaboratively. There are going to be people that are going to be happy. There are going to be people that are less so happy. But the management of the parking is on the city, and we absolutely need your input on that. Anything you can do to help us along. You may not agree with everything, but we still need that input that's so valuable to address the problems. One of the outcomes was that the need for a garage was not evident, but we do need to manage our inventory better, and that is a problem. It's something we're going to be working on. Parking is just part of the issue. We've also asked the community to give us input on discussion with the Imagine Oshkosh initiative. We're still not done yet. I can see the poster from here. It says join the conversation. Absolutely give us your input on what things you would like to see in the central city. I am very proud to say that we didn't take that 2001 action plan and just let it sit on the shelf. We really did work on implementing that. And when this plan's done, we're not going to let that sit on the shelf either. That's irresponsible, and I think it wouldn't be fair to the people who have provided all this input. You provide us this input, and we're going to do something about it. And we need to take what we've achieved already and dream about new initiatives and then make them happen. That's what we do well, and I'm very proud of the work that our staff has done, that our community leaders have done, our council, and we got to keep moving forward with that. Again, go to the planning booth and you'll see more about that. One of the interesting things that was missing from those comments back in 2010, you may have noticed that nobody said a single thing about the farmers market in the old comments. And that's because way back in 2010, the farmers market was still there in the City Hall parking lot. Now we have the best farmers market in the state. And I just said it, so it must be true. Dennis and Carleen, stand up, come on. You get a lot of credit. You know, and they didn't sit still. They weren't satisfied with just losing their entire Saturday. Now they're losing their entire Wednesdays during the summer. And they've made it happen. They've done the South Park Farmers Market, and it's really been great to add that to the neighborhood in the South Park area, and I want to thank them for that as well. But the other wonderful part about it is this created such enthusiasm and just positive feelings about our community. People go to our farmers market by choice. They just don't stumble upon it and say, oh, what's going on here? You got to get up early on a Saturday morning. And people are out there at 8 in the morning, and they're out there to get the early deals on the good produce, or maybe they're going after a street taco or an egg roll, but that's another story. But people go there because they want to feel part of our community, and it is a great place to talk. Our residents, they interact with their fellow residents and neighbors, and that's also another thing that's happened over the last few years, and that's our neighborhood initiatives, and I want to talk about those a little bit as well.
I notice that people are much more friendly. You know more people now because we have activities, and so it's nice to go for a walk and wave to so many people.
Well, I like the fact that they've got all the events that they have going on. They're most of them good family-oriented things. I think Oshkosh is a good family town.
Neighborhood night out in our neighborhood, and we've been real pleased with that, with our attendance. And again, that's a way to get to know our police and fire department and our city council members that come, and our mayor and things like that. So that's been a really good experience also.
This is an exciting time for neighborhoods in the city because with the help of the planning department, with Elizabeth, we're seeing that we can do things in our neighborhood to make it beautiful, to make people want to move there, and to make the residents proud.
I chose to live here. I lived in Neenah for 50 years and came back. I was raised here, born here, and I came back.
Back in 2010, neighborhoods weren't even being talked about. Now it's a major initiative of the council, and in order to have our community move forward, we do need to keep our neighborhoods strong. And that's a major priority of the council and certainly of the city staff as well. Some of the things we're doing, and you're going to see more of, is you've heard some discussion about a rental registry program. And if we're going to make our neighborhoods attractive for people that want to move there, for owner-occupants, we need to improve our neighborhoods, make them places where you want to move and raise your family. Part of that is holding people accountable, regardless of owner-occupant or rental occupant. We need to make sure that standards are being held, because homes are the single greatest investment most of us have. And if you don't take care of your homes and your neighborhoods are going to fall apart. So there's some initiatives that have been going on at the state level to change how that was going to get managed, and we've been waiting for that to finally sort itself out. now that we know that the rules are that we have to live under, we're preparing a draft that we're going to be circulating throughout the community. I encourage you to get involved and pay attention to what's going on. We'll be engaging our rental community, our landlords, because we want their input as well. I think we've got something that's very workable, and of course it's in keeping with state law, but we're going to be doing that in the coming year. And I think it's important that we get that done because making people accountable will improve the stock of housing in our community, which will improve our neighborhoods. Meanwhile, neighborhood associations. We didn't have a single neighborhood association in 2010. And as of this past week, we now have 11 neighborhood associations, and actually 2 more are in the works. So if you're part of a neighborhood association, I'd like you to stand up right now and let everybody see the number of engaged people we have. Look at that. Thank you so much. There are so many neighborhood associations that I would love to shout out to, but I want to in particular shout out to Millers Bay Neighborhood Association. They work very closely with the Oshkosh Area School District on the Emmeline Cook playground area. That was identified by that neighborhood as something very vital to their neighborhood, and they got engaged, and we married together funds from the school district and our neighborhood funds, as well as just initiatives that the neighbors did themselves. It's a great model for everybody to follow, and I encourage you, if you don't have a neighborhood association, and I know who you are because you didn't stand up. So now I want you to make sure that you get introduced to Liz Williams. People referred to Liz, Alexa Najunas. They are our 2 neighborhood community development planners, and they will help you develop your own neighborhood association, and you'll see the benefits of doing that. And it's really a sense of community, and I encourage you to do that. Meanwhile, to bring all those groups together, we're also developing our own nonprofit organization. We had been working on a relationship with NeighborWorks, but it was based out of Racine, and we know that we've got enough engaged people here that we can run this organization ourselves. And Mayor Cummings and a lot of folks that have been involved in the neighborhood associations have formed a nonprofit organization called Greater Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative, or GO-HNI. They're going to be formally creating their organization, and it's really to try to be an umbrella for all the neighborhood associations so you can share ideas with one another. If you want to know what Millers Bay did with Emmeline Cook, or with what some of the other neighborhoods are doing, Stevens Park, I saw Larry out there in the audience, what a wonderful job that Stevens Park did. Talking together and sharing those ideas, and we will bring the resources of the city, whether it's community development with planning, or code enforcement, or police, or fire, or if you want, books. I mean, we will bring the resources of the city to your neighborhood so that you can become engaged with each other. I encourage you to do that. Where we're going next with this is healthy neighborhoods are really a fundamental part of economic development. When people want to build a good neighborhood, they increase our tax base, but economic development in its overall form is also very important. And I want to talk a little bit and hear from the residents about what they think about economic development.
I think it's been rather progressive. The downtown has continued to develop. The Main Street is great. The riverfront, lots of new businesses, microbreweries going in, and I really enjoy that.
I've noticed the university has done some great amount of growth along the river, taking down some dilapidated buildings, putting up some brand new structures. Major improvement from when I was a student there in the 70s.
I'm really excited about the old Buckstaff plant and the marina and the development of those areas.
The Pioneers was a major attraction back in the day. So I really wish that somebody would find a way to resolve that rather than it being the island that it is and the eyesore that it is, because that was a nice attraction back in the day as well. It's been a long time since they've had that.
Business in Oshkosh is great. It's great to have the university. You have a ready supply of young talent coming in all the time. We have a strong, diverse community. Economic development is very good.
I'm really happy that we have so many engaged partners when we're talking about economic development. And I'm just going to talk to you about a handful of them. Of course, we want to congratulate Oshkosh Corporation on their contract. It seems like all those things are behind them in terms of the legal challenges to the contract that they've been awarded, and they're going to be proceeding with that. And we're going to work very closely with them because they're going to be wanting to attract people to our community, and we were very fortunate to be able to help them. Back in 2010, the issue was what was called the E-Code facility. They're going to be able to use that E-Code facility for the next, the successor to the Hummers, the JLTV. That facility will help, and we were part of that. And even though they went through some ups and downs on hiring, now the ramp is up, and we're very pleased and proud that we're going to be a part of that growth cycle that I believe we'll all benefit from. There's a couple other projects that are underway that the upside is still in front of us. Aviation Business Park. I know that County Executive Mark Harris and County Board Chair Dave Albrecht are both here. They've been wonderful partners in helping us develop that business park in partnership with one another. And we're right now putting the utilities in there, and we're going to be able to start marketing that. And there, with all the work that the university's done with the Air Venture, the aviation, Aero Innovate itself, bringing in entrepreneurs that are dealing with aviation, bringing them, that will fill our park, and we will be able to leverage all the great resources we have with aviation to really make that successful. And then there's something that you may or may not have heard about. There was a little reference in the paper last week about this borrowing we had done, and one of the projects that we were borrowing for was for something called a transload facility. And quite honestly, a few years ago, this was not even on our radar screen. All we were trying to do was get the Oshkosh Corp trucks from having to be loaded by Wisconsin and Southern behind the residents on Allerton Drive. And they're still getting loaded there, but we've been working on a project that I'm very excited to talk about, and I hope you're as excited as I am, because I'm just learning about how valuable this is. It started out as moving trains from one loading area to another, but now it's a partnership with Wisconsin Southern Railroad, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, hopefully, we're waiting on a grant application, LECO Steel, and Oshkosh Corporation. All those folks work together to develop this, what's called a transloading facility. We're going to have 3 separate rail spurs near where LECO Steel is, across from 4 Imprint in the Southwest Industrial Park. If you're not real familiar with it, those are kind of the 2 landmarks. There'll be 1 rail area for Oshkosh Corp loading, 1 for LECO Steel, because LECO Steel is putting money into this project, and then a separate track for any and all types of transloading, which basically gives every business in northeast Wisconsin the capability to have rail access. They drive the trucks over to that transloading facility, and the trains will take it away. It really adds it's a value-added service that we're going to be able to provide to every business in northeast Wisconsin. And I'm excited that we've been able to get everybody working together on that. Particularly the county had to hold the railroad's feet to the fire for a while, so Mark Harris, thank you for doing that. Everybody participated a little bit. This project is going to cost over $2 million. When we started out, when we were just trying to relocate them, it was $400,000, and we were going to put $200,000 in. I'm happy to report that even though the project is still over $2.2 million now, our contribution cash will still be only $200,000. We figured out a way to get everybody to the table, Oshkosh Corp, LECO, the railroad, and we're a grant pending from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, which I feel very hopeful about, and I think we'll be making an announcement shortly if everything can get worked out. It's going to be able to attract businesses that don't currently use rail, so we're real excited about that. Then the 2 questions I get asked more than anything at all. Buckstaff and Pioneer. Well, yeah, at least I get you a half a loaf tonight. We've reached, yeah, somebody said finally. Thank you. Amen to that. The council reached agreement with the owners and the bank that were dealing with the Buckstaff property. I had hoped to be able to make an announcement tonight, but we're not there yet. But we have applied for a grant with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. I remain very hopeful about that, but not so hopeful that I can make an announcement about it. But we're working on that. Our goal is still to have that building down by the end of September. I know the mayor and the council members were looking forward to having a wrecking ball ceremony, and we'll have that. Just be a little patient. So that one is working very well, and we're looking for some, a lot of great ideas potentially to do something with that property. Quite honestly, that's still a work in progress, but the fact that it'll be down, Chief Tim Franz will be able to sleep at night knowing that he's not going to get a call in the middle of the night for that building, because it's a fire hazard. We knew it, and the council really held firm to get that thing done, and I appreciate their leadership for us to get that done. Pioneer is still a work in progress. I wish I could say there was more progress than what's been talked about from 2010. There is a local person that has an option on it. They haven't exercised the option yet. We're very hopeful that they will. I believe that once we get into local ownership, they'll have a much more vested interest, and you can harass that person at the grocery store or something like that. That's where you come in. But until we get into local ownership, it will take some time. So I preach patience, but I think with the work we're doing with the Central City investment strategy will give us some focus for what we're doing with that. And so I encourage you to stay engaged with that process. And then lastly, I want to give a great shout out to Jason White and his staff at the Greater Oshkosh Economic Development Corporation. And I also want to give a shout out to our business community. Our business community has been super involved and supportive of Go EDC. So much so that for every public dollar that goes into Go EDC, there's another $2 from the private sector. That shows an incredible commitment to move economic development forward. And I encourage you to go visit Jason and his staff over at the booth in the far corner to learn about what they're doing, how they're engaging businesses, to learn about what their needs are and responding to those needs with support that they can give, and point them in the right direction and help them achieve great things for their organization. But of course, economic development isn't just about bringing businesses, and it isn't just about neighborhoods. It's bringing people to Oshkosh. And one of the things that we really need to work on next is how do we make Oshkosh a community of choice?
I moved here in 2000, and I can see the tremendous improvement and upgrade that has occurred.
We've been here since 1967, and I think it's a great town, and this library is the gem of the town. I love it.
The joke is when people retire, they usually go to Florida or Arizona. When I retired, I moved to Oshkosh. But I'm very, very happy with that move.
Yeah, we never want to leave. It's a small family community. Sure, there's 70,000 people, but it is a family community, and we enjoy it. It's comfortable and lots of great things going on, and it's home for us.
The nation is diversifying, and we need to be thinking about what that looks like for us if we want to be a world-class city.
Looking at those who maybe aren't as fortunate in helping with housing and shelter, that's really important, and I think Oshkosh needs some work on that, is affordable housing. Yeah.
Coming to the senior center is like being on a cruise ship. There's just so many exciting things, programs to do, games to play, lectures to attend, help with computers, foreign languages, history. It's just incredible what a gold mine the Oshkosh Senior Center is.
They've got hunting, they've got fishing, all types. You've got the Otter Street Club over here that sponsors a lot of activity out on the lake. And no, you don't see this everywhere.
It would be nice to also have some more winter activities, I think. That would be awesome.
Well, the Riverwalk, and they put the docks in here by Ground Round and Beckett's and that kind of stuff, so that's made it a lot nicer than it was before. And hope that the plans that Oshkosh has talked about for a long time going on the waterfront.
I think that the city has been, particularly in recent years, been very open to new ideas, really looking to be innovators and thought and change agents in the Fox Valley. I've seen a lot of growth from the city and city management over the course of my 5-year tenure here in Oshkosh, and I'm really excited about some of the ideas and commitments that they're making.
Well, I think Oshkosh has really come a long way, and so I'm really excited to see what more is to come in the future.
We had so many positive comments about what people are proud of in our community. And one of the things that really came clear to me, and we still got to do a better job at doing this, we got to do a better job of telling our story. And I know the mayor has been working on some initiative to call the Quality of Life Committee, and it's telling our story, whether it's about our school system or our parks or our libraries, which, Jeff, you must have paid those people to say all those wonderful things. It's all backdrop. But there are so many things, and I just couldn't help. I was thinking of singing the theme from the Love Boat when I heard the senior center is like a cruise ship. I think there's your new motto, Mark. But those are the things that people are proud of. And the idea of being a community of choice is a relatively new concept, but that's how we're going to attract people to this community. And it's evolved, and we need to continue to have that evolve. And when you think about it, it started out with very physical things like a river walk and our infrastructure, things that people can look at and see and be proud of. But it's more than just the physical improvements in our community. There are also a lot of qualitative things that we also need to work on. Businesses have told us, and Jason and I, in Jason's first year, we visited businesses, and one of the things we hear on a consistent basis is they're looking for a welcoming and attractive community to show off to their new employees. And right now there's a demand for employees the businesses really need to sell the community. They want people to live here. They want people to have short commutes to work and things like that. And it's our best interest to embrace that idea of being more welcoming and recognize that we're going to need to be a more diverse community. And we need to be more welcoming about adding people to our mix because they're our future. And I throw out the challenge to anybody, when it's time to retire, whether you want to retire to a condo along the riverfront in Oshkosh, which we will get, or you want to retire somewhere else, who's going to buy your house? It's that simple. We need to attract people to our community, and they're the people that will buy your house and let you live a more relaxed life, a less stressful life. Those are the things that we know are happening. You hear the talk about millennials, how they choose a community before the job. We need to make a community that people want to come to, and it's adding all those things. It's not just the infrastructure. It's all the quality of life assets that we have that we can celebrate, whether it's the library or the senior center or our parks or the museum. All those things are very important to talk about, but it's also that qualitative stuff that we need to be welcoming to all walks of life because it's a very diverse world out there, and if we're going to attract people, we need to welcome them in. Some of the things we've done that I'm really proud of, for example, our inclusive playground. That was another example. When people are looking at our community, they want to see that those types of things are going on. Then comes diversity. And the council has asked me to look into the creation of a diversity coordinator position. And it's been an interesting process, a very good learning process for me personally. We're learning more about what diversity means. We're collecting input. And I think it's a discussion that we're going to continue to have. If you haven't already seen the university strategic plan, it talks about that as well. We need to make sure that our respective plans are meshed together because we want to make sure that the university can attract students of a diverse nature, and we attract people to our community of a diverse nature. It's in our economic best interest to do this. So it's also about business. It's also about being a great welcoming community. And I absolutely know that based on these comments, we are so ready to do this stuff, and I look forward to that. People have asked what else we can do to attract people, and we still have a lot of work to do, but I know we can get it done. And speaking of the next thing to work on is we're working on our next strategic plan. We'll be going into a retreat, the department heads and the city council in July, and we're going to be developing that new plan. So I invite you to, first of all, when you sat down this evening, you saw a little card, and depending on if you're old school or new school, if you're new school, we want your thoughts. You can give it to us on Facebook with Oshkosh Media, or on Twitter, or you can email my office and we'll get them there. Or if you want to go old school, just fill out that card and drop it off at the Administrative Services booth with my assistant, John Fitzpatrick, and we'll get the information, and we'll take it all in, and then when we meet to discuss our strategic plan, we'll have the input that you provide. We need your input because in order to be successful, we need to know what you want us to accomplish. So please be part of that conversation and fill out anything on the card. Lastly, just want to talk about some takeaways. If you don't come here and get anything, something cool, or I heard this happen last night, or I heard that happen, then you're not getting a good deal here. So we want to unveil some new and exciting things. The first I want to talk about is Oshkosh Community Media Services. They've been working on a big change in terms of branding, and in their only special way that they can do, want to share it with you tonight.
We started out in 1987 and were known as Channel 10. It was the cable channel that televised Oshkosh Common Council meetings. Over the years, we've changed. We've evolved. We added a channel and a radio station. But our mission remains the same: to encourage an informed citizenry, to recognize the work and service of nonprofits, to preserve the creative spirit and independent voice, and to build community pride. Now, we are Oshkosh Media. We listened to our viewers and simplified our brand to show what we do. We're made up of GovTV, Life TV, and Oshkosh FM. We continue to listen to the community and look forward to improving our services to you as Oshkosh Media.
Oshkosh Media now has a new website, new Facebook page going live, and you're going to see the changes that were just revealed on the air. And all of this branding was done with the support and cooperation of Friends of Oshkosh Community Media. And members of the committee are back there to show off all the goodies they have. They've got, and everybody at their chair now has a new Oshkosh Media pen, as well as some other goodies that they're showing off to help promote it. Because, as you know, the channels have gotten changed over the years, and it's not as much Channel 10. There's other channels, and you can get things online. So the channels there are really intended to kind of segment what Oshkosh Media does now. So I encourage you to go back there. And then secondly, we've had a great discussion and collaborative effort with the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation on getting some gateway signs for our community. And there's 5 gateways, all at the major interchanges with I-41. And we also, at the same time, we're getting some input from council that maybe we needed to refresh our city logo. And part of that was when we did an active count, we had over 100 different logos for the city. So we bring these 2 projects together, and we have our Welcome to Oshkosh signs, which you'll see coming out shortly, with our upgraded city logo. Still a wave, but a little different spin on it. And I want to thank the public museums, particularly Director Brad Larson, but also his graphic designer, Daniel Pfizer, who helped us with refreshing the logo. So you're going to see this coming up at our major intersections this summer, and we're really excited about that. And I want to thank the Community Foundation for their generosity, because all this has been done with the financial support of the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation. So take a look at some of the things we're doing on there, and we'll slowly evolve that as we go on. So in closing, as you could see, even in 6 short years, we've proven we can get a lot of things done, and good quality things done, when we get input from the public. What will we succeed in next? It's entirely up to you. give us your ideas on our cards, talk to us, and not just here at the State of the City. You know that you can contact us anytime. Give us your input. Tell us what we're doing right, and yeah, you got to tell us when we're doing things not so right either, and that's part of it. We enjoy serving you, and we're going to continue to do that in the future. And with that, thank you for coming tonight, and I want to turn over to Mayor Cummings and Deputy Mayor Peck for our Citizen Service Awards. Again, thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you, Mark. What do you all think? Are we heading in the right direction? Now it's time to recognize some citizens who have achieved significant milestones this year for their service on our boards and commissions. While we are only spotlighting 27 people tonight, we'd like to thank all those citizens who serve in the city's 25 boards and commissions. Whether you've dedicated 1 year, 2 years, or 20 years, what you do is truly appreciated and makes the lives of the Oshkosh Common Council a bit easier. Without them, excuse me, we could not do our job, so again, thank you. We'll start with those boards and commission members who have served 5 years. Honorees are asked to please step forward as you hear your name mentioned, and everyone please hold your applause until all the names have been called. Victor Gerens, Jonathan Wilson, and Sandra Prunty, Advisory Parks Board. Kathy Propp, Extraterritorial Zoning Committee. Harold Buchholz, Jeff Herzig, Jason Hersberg, Douglas Pearson, Brian Schultz, and Jeffrey Tomes, Long Range Finance Committee. John Schuster, Parking Utility Board. Kimberly Biederman and Michelle Musel, Sustainability Advisory Board. And Gary Ross, Traffic Review Advisory Board. Let's give a round of applause to all those individuals who have served the city for 5 years. Now we'd like to honor those members who have achieved 10 years of service to the city. Thomas Werblow, Board of Ed Review. David Borsak, Extraterritorial Zoning Committee. Thomas Wojtek, Plan Commission. Steve Hintz and Archie Stamp, Redevelopment Authority Board. Let's get a round of applause to all these individuals who have served this city for 10 years. Now we'd like to honor those members who have achieved 15 years of service. William Gogolewski, Advisory Parks Board. David Spar and James Staple, Bid Board. Claude Benedict, Oshkosh Housing Authority. David Jones and John Shorzy, Police and Fire Commission. Let's give this group another round of applause for their 15 years of service. We have one 20-year milestone tonight, and that is James Michelson, Advisory Parks Board. And one 25-year milestone tonight, Ronald Montgomery, Equal Opportunity and Housing Commission. Our boards and commissions are always looking for more members of the community to get involved and share some of their time. If anyone, either in attendance or watching at home or online, is interested in joining a board or commission, they can just log on to the city's website, which is www.ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and apply. Now I'd like to introduce Sue Van Houwegen, Executive Director of the Oshkosh Housing Authority, who will honor and recognize the contribution made by a long-term board member. Sue?
Thank you. I just want to recognize Claude Benedict, who retired from our Oshkosh Housing Authority Board last year. It's an appreciation award presented to Claude in recognition of 15 years of dedicated service, leadership, and outstanding contributions to the Housing Authority of the City of Oshkosh Board of Commissioners. He started in June of 2000, retired in June of 2015, was also the chairman from October 2005 to June of 2015. And he has made my life extremely easier, and it was pretty sad for him, for me, for when he has decided to move on to other things. So I just want to say thank you to Claude for all your contributions.
I don't think so.
Now I'd like to honor some exciting achievements in Oshkosh neighborhoods. Neighborhood associations have taken root in Oshkosh as people begin to realize the importance of knowing and working with their neighbors. They foster a spirit of community by connecting neighbors to collaborate in developing the neighborhood that they call home. I'm pleased to present certificates of recognition to the Ferry Crossing Neighborhood Association, Sawyer Creek Neighborhood Association, and the Lumber River Neighborhood Association. Your work with the city in the pursuit of creating healthy neighborhoods of choice in our community is invaluable. We look forward to a future of continued cooperation and success. Okay. Could the representatives of those neighborhood associations please come to the front?
Let's give this group another round of applause for their efforts. Next, the Outstanding Resident Leadership Award recognizes significant contributions made by dedicated neighborhood leaders. Awardees have invested their time and talent to create healthy neighborhoods of choice in Oshkosh and bring about positive change in their neighborhoods and the Oshkosh community. John Schilk, investment of time and effort in the River East neighborhood has brought about visible improvements to the neighborhood and has positively impacted the youth in the Oshkosh community. As a founding member of the River East Neighborhood Association, John has been a mentor to UW students as they surveyed and completed a study of his neighborhood, has led neighbors and UWO students in the Hands-on Oshkosh program. In the spring and fall, cleaned up Riverside Park, Rowe Park, and William Waters Plaza, formed a volunteer work crew of neighbors to weekly help at the growing Oshkosh Urban Farm, and recruited neighbors who formed a committee to work with the Oshkosh Parks Department in a bi-monthly cleanup effort along the River Walk in Riverside Park. John is also the current chairperson of the Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhood Alliance. As a humble leader, John credits his achievements to the wonderful neighbors and students that he has the pleasure of working with. Tonight, we are pleased to honor John with the annual Outstanding Resident Leadership Award. John? Now, I would like to introduce council members Deb Allison Osby and Kyle Clark, who will present our first Community Partnership Award.
Good evening. Since 1997, the Friends of Oshkosh Community Media, better known as the Friends of OCM, has provided production and promotional support to Oshkosh media programs and services. They made the creation of Oshkosh's community radio station, 101.9 FM WOCT, possible and provide the funds to operate it. This year, they are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of WOCT and plan to celebrate with an exciting upcoming community concert featuring local artists. The nonprofit Friends of OCM Board is made up of members of the Oshkosh community who support and believe in the mission of Oshkosh Media, and without their help, many projects and programs from Oshkosh Media would not be possible.
The Friends of OCM organize membership, underwriting, and fundraising projects and are very well known for their infamous OCM card, or what some may still call the OCAT card. Guilty. Which will not only raise funds for OCMS, but also help support local nonprofit organizations. They make video coverage of the Oshkosh Holiday Parade, 4th of July Parade, and Memorial Day procession possible, and support the coverage of important local events. They have made it possible for OCMS to purchase hundreds of dollars worth of expensive camera equipment, office supplies, and even the freebies you see out tonight. OCMS received 4 Excellence Awards from their peers in the Wisconsin Community Media Best of the Midwest Video Fest for the outstanding work that they have done in their field. And the Friends of OCM are a part of what helped them earn those awards. We are happy to present the Community Partnership Award to the Friends of OCM tonight for their service to the community through their support of Oshkosh Media. Here to accept the award on behalf of the Friends of OCM is Joe Wiedenmeyer, President of the Board.
Well, the first thing I have to say is that since we're responsible for the things that are being handed out here, if you try to use this pen, it probably doesn't work. You have to take the little end off of it first. So I thought you needed to know that. This has been a great thing for me. I'm fairly new to the board, 3 years or so, but the board's been around since '97, and they've done a lot of great things with it, and the radio station is one of the big things that I'm particularly involved with, and the rest of it. But the staff that we work with, Emily and Scott and Andy, are great, and the collaboration that they do with the board is really a treasure for this city to have. So we get the information out. Mark uses it like crazy, and we like that, and we want to get the community side of that going as well. So thank you very much.
Now I'd like to introduce Council Members Caroline Pansky and Ben Stefanik, who will present our second Community Partnership Award.
To list the accomplishments of the Millers Bay Neighborhood Association would take much longer than this brief award presentation. This neighborhood association has been a beacon in the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative here in Oshkosh. One of the most noteworthy projects the Millers Bay Neighborhood Association has put an enormous time of effort into is the Emmeline Cook Elementary Beautification Project. This is a true example of collaboration with the support of the North Shore Neighborhood Association, investments from the city and Oshkosh Area School District, and the community. They were able to revitalize the exterior of Emmeline Cook. With much needed improvements and updates that were sorely needed in the aging school, they took on a project that seemed impossible, and by working together, made it happen.
In addition to the massive amount of work on the E-Cook project, the Millers Bay Neighborhood Association completed their neighborhood plan, allowing them to shape their neighborhood by addressing land use, transportation, design standards, and other issues. Millers Bay improved the George Washington Monument, which includes new lighting, landscaping, sidewalk, and a flagpole, making it beautiful and meaningful part of their neighborhood that they can be proud of. But beautification didn't stop there. They also installed 22 terraced trees in 2015 and sponsored a tree pruning workshop to educate residents on proper pruning techniques. The Millers Bay Neighborhood Association's leadership is also actively involved with both the Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhood Alliance and the creation of the Greater Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhood Initiative. We can't wait to see what Millers Bay will accomplish next and are happy to honor them with a Community Partnership Award this year. Here to accept the award is Renee Lynch.
Thank you, Steve. All 294 households in our Millers Bay Neighborhood Association want to thank the many, many individuals and groups that have helped us, well, grow and make a difference over the past 4 years. Mr. Roloff, the Common Council, who constantly has the focus of strengthening our neighborhoods, the Planning Division that has worked with us to plan our future in our neighborhood plan, and also the Oshkosh Area School District, the Parks Department, and I'm going to forget somebody, and the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation that have helped support our ideas and help us with our improvement projects of the Emmeline Cook Beautification Project and the Triangle. Getting this award is a great honor. We thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce Deputy Mayor Tom Peck Jr. and Councilmember Steve Herman, who will present our third Community Partnership Award.
Community Partnerships at its finest has made the Oshkosh Inclusive Park Project possible. South Park became the home to Oshkosh's first inclusive playground this summer and has created a safe, accessible outdoor recreational environment for individuals of all abilities and ages. The play area includes a rubberized ground surface and a safety fence and some great accessible playground equipment. At the grand opening of the park on June 5th, the feeling of joy among kids, parents, and grandparents was tangible, and the park had continued to be a destination for families in Oshkosh since then. The organizers of the project were motivated to make a place where those who are not able to access regular park facilities could enjoy themselves without being limited. The inclusive park is a result of the ambitions to create inclusion of individuals of all ages and abilities.
Not only does this park provide a place that is all-inclusive, but it also fosters the awareness and acceptance of differences. It is a place where children can learn these values through play, where seniors can enjoy the interaction of the younger generations in a safe and accessible park. It contributes to the progressive and positive growth of this community and has started the conversation of what else can we do? Through a public-private partnership with the City of Oshkosh, Oshkosh Area Community Foundation, Community First Credit Union, and the John E. Kinzel Foundation, this park went from dream to a reality. The ultimate goal of the project was to create an environment where values of acceptance, empathy, kindness, and respect are being modeled and learned, all through recreation, civility, and acceptance of diversity in the Oshkosh community. We believe the Oshkosh Inclusive Park Project has done just that, and we look forward to seeing how they plan to continue their efforts in the future. We're happy to present this Community Partnership Award to the Oshkosh Inclusive Park Project, and here to accept the award on behalf of the team is Pamela DeLapp.
Hi, I'm actually Sarah Mulbauer, and on behalf of the Oshkosh Inclusive Park Project Committee, thank you for recognizing the efforts of so many of our community partners. The Cerebral Palsy of Mideast, Wisconsin, the City of Oshkosh Parks and Recreation Department, and the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation have played an integral role in our grassroots committee to bring this playground to our Oshkosh community. In addition, local schools, service organizations, and community members have donated more than financial support. There has been ongoing desire to volunteer their time and talents toward this wonderful project. We are proud to say that this playground has brought about a true sense of community. This playground is more than a safe area for children and adults of all abilities to interact with each other. It is a place where we look past one's differences and learn about their abilities. We are looking forward to the addition of the picket fence this spring to wrap our playground in the love and support of our community. Thank you to the City of Oshkosh for the Community Partnership Award.
This concludes our 2016 State of the City Address and Awards presentation. Just a reminder for everyone here tonight, I encourage you to stick around and talk to the members of our different departments, as well as several other groups who play an important role in your community. Thank you again to everyone who helped make tonight possible, all those people who were kind enough to provide us with some comments for the presentation, and of course the Oshkosh Convention Center for hosting us tonight. Here's to a bright 2016 and beyond for our world-class city. Thank you.